welcome to Redefine Your Fear, Business Made Simple. Okay, I'd like to talk to you today about goals. Oh, they say, oh no, you're going to talk about goal setting, etc. Goals are not negative. They can be negative if they're actually going to be a stick to beat you with. But let's rephrase that. A goal is actually just a dream. Everything you see in front of you started as a dream. Everything. Planes, cars, buildings, iPod, the gadget, the thing you're watching me on right now. It was a dream at some stage. So goals actually come from a very positive place. Actually, I have a dream and then I want to set a goal. The dream and the goal can be the same thing. But now you just need to actually work towards those. So there's usually two types of goals. There's personal and there's professional. Now, being the entrepreneur you now are, and you can actually mix those so actually one goal fits both. You may say, I want more money and I want to spend more time with my family. Professional, personal goals. There is no fixed line between them, but it's important that actually you do this process just actually to give you the focus and keep you on track to make sure you keep going and being awesome as you are already. If you've watched some of the other videos, you will realise that I'm very much very keen on the idea of visualisation, that actually visualising success is one of the first steps. And this setting a goal is going to help you actually put the corners around the invisible object of being awesome, and actually it's going to help you progress to that and keep you close to the flame. That's what you need to be. It's going to be like throwing a stone in a pond. As you throw the stone in, the ripples are going to go out, and that is the effect. So cause and effect. So when you start doing your business, there is going to be the ripples, and you need to know what the effect is going to be, and that's where having a plan is going to help. So we're going to go through the steps to help you make this plan. So firstly, why even bother setting goals? What's the big deal? Hey, I can get by. It's all in my head. You know, it's fine. Shockingly, 83% of the American population do not fix regular goals. And studies, there is plenty of studies out there to show that actually if you do not have a plan, then it's not going to work. Whatever your idea, it's not going to work. As soon as you take that stage of writing it down, you're making a connection with your head, and actually stuff is starting to get real. It's no longer ideas bouncing around in your head. It's also exceptionally therapeutic. If you're one of these people like me, that actually the ideas get to the point where they want to burst out of my head, I have to write them down. It's the only way I can release the pressure valve to actually be able to think the next steps. So writing it down, if you're already doing it, great. Let's just hone that skill. If you're new to doing it, start doing it, you'll find the advantages immediate. That's the good thing, immediate results. So your plan and your goal should be positive. It's not a chore to do this. This is actually something which is going to help guide you. You wouldn't set off on a trip without knowing where you're going. We've all booked a holiday and we've all put an itinerary. Some of us are very, very good at doing itineraries. Some of us are like, we'll just get there and see how it goes. But there are points of where we're going, and it's exactly the same. So we already all have those skills from in our personal lives of booking things to actually getting the kids to school, getting to their activities. Those skills are already there. It's just a question now of writing them down and actually getting them to focus. It's proven that by writing things down, things are going to get done. In your head, you can actually forget about it all. When it's written down, at least you've got something you can refer back to. That's why books and ebooks are such good sellers, because it's actually somebody written down a plan, a guide, some advice, so you can consume that. Another good reason for writing a plan in the first place is because it's actually going to help motivate you. It's going to help you to start and finish your project. Lots of people are like bursting with energy at the beginning. They're waiting for the starter's gun, boom, and they go off at a sprint. Nobody's told them that actually this is not a sprint race. You do not get prizes for finishing first. This is a marathon. This is something where you get prizes for finishing. That's where doing a business, starting a business, you need a plan to get the idea. It's not a sprint. If you sprint, you're going to run out of energy, you're going to physically be destroyed, and you won't be there to actually finish the project off. This is where writing the plan will actually keep you motivated by steps. It will actually help you when you're on your 130th mile in your marathon and you feel like giving up. This is the time. This is the important thing to actually then give you that second boost of energy to carry on. So this is where the plan will really start to try and help. Also, by writing a plan, it's going to help contain the fear. There's going to be an element where you doubt yourself, you doubt what you're doing, and you're going to be worried, you're going to be fearful of it. And so having a plan is going to be almost like your crutch to rest upon, to actually be able to actually gain strength from yourself, from what you've written. So it's a very important tool. It also will help the procrastination, which is one of those nice big words which is used very commonly nowadays, but it's actually the thinking of, oh God, I can't do this anymore. It's actually bursting through that barrier, which you can actually put your own elements there to help. If you aren't feeling good on a day, you don't have to then get the home run. You have to do the hard work, the stuff behind the scenes, the donkey work to actually keep going forward. You have to just keep every moment inching your way forward. So when you are creative again, you can take great leaps forward. But you've got to look after yourself and you've got to pace yourself. This is not a sprint. By actually starting writing a plan, this would actually fill you with excitement. This would actually fill you with good vibes, good feelings, because it's your idea. It's something in your head which you're now getting out, and the more you can write down and arrows here and everything else, it starts actually fleshing out what's in your head and actually starts putting it on a canvas. And you can say, yeah, actually, man, this feels really good. And you can look at that feeling of winning, of achieving. You can look at that when things start getting tough, and you can actually then trigger that same emotion to come back and lift you through those darker stages. An interesting statistic is actually New Year's resolutions. Now, I've given up making New Year's resolutions because they just don't work. If you're with me on that, then yeah, nod at the same time. Absolutely. Well, the people who still are doing those New Year's resolutions, 90%, that's 90%, fail within the first 2 weeks. Why? Because it's in their head and it's a goal. It's a general goal. It's got no, how do you get to that point? And actually, people give up. It's not written down, it's not thought through. So you don't want to actually have that for your key idea. This is where you actually got to make that difference between getting from your New Year resolution attitude to actually, you're in business now. Now start getting the skills, start learning, and start actually embracing that this is business. This is not a hobby, this is your business now. Okay, so now we're actually getting to the stage where we're going to actually put some pen to paper. So what we're going to start thinking of and using is something which has been used in the industry for a long time, and it's called setting smart goals. Now you'll see with the video there is a printed out sheet for you to actually start filling in. As I've said on the sheet, it's very important actually that actually having a blank canvas, a blank sheet of paper is really quite intimidating. So I'm helping you guys out here. There's boxes to fill in. People love boxes, especially guys. Guys love boxes. We have a box for everything. So we can actually fill in the boxes. It's also going to give you some questions to help prompt you to try and actually get you creative, to get you actually just going for it on paper. So let's now go through what the SMART stands for. Okay, S. S stands for specific. Okay, you've got to be specific in what actually you're going to try and do. If you're just being fuzzy and airy-fairy about it all, then your plan will take that type of feel. If you actually are specific, so what we're looking at, we want 4 W's here. We want who, where, what, when. Answer those questions. This is actually to get into your head, to actually be analytical. This is like taking the surgical tool to actually try and cut out and actually put on paper the general idea. So actually it's very important to be specific. It's like having the map. If it's a map which you're using, before sat-navs came along, you had to actually find your way using a road map. If the map was out of date, didn't show the right roads, it was a nightmare. So you've got to make sure you've got a good detailed map in order that you can actually get to your destination. And this needs to be done in a positive way, not as something which is looked at as a chore. Okay, the M stands for measurable. Okay, what that actually means is you've got to actually be able to measure that you actually are progressing towards your goal. If you can't measure how you actually, the steps you're taking, well, you're going to lose hope. You're going to actually give up on it. So what you need to do is you need to actually come up with evidence for you personally, which actually shows that you are progressing towards your goal. It may be that actually you decide to break your goal down, the overall goal, into a series of steps of how you're going to achieve the big overall picture by achieving step A, B, C, D. And then when they've done it, have that satisfaction of ticking it off. Have that good feeling of actually being able to say, I'm achieving something. I'm actually moving forward. It's measurable. I can measure my success. It's a great motivation tool and it will keep you on track. So being able to measure your success and reward yourself. Once you've actually done something, celebrate it. Don't just go, yeah. Celebrate it. Actually, yeah, I've done this. I've moved out. I've done that part. I've got that skill. I've achieved that qualification. Now, what's next? Be hungry. Be ready to consume the next thing. A. A stands for achievable or attainable or realistic. Do you actually have the right skills to do what you want, to achieve your bigger picture? Be realistic. If you haven't, that's fine. This is the time where you actually make a mini step to say, okay, to get those skills, I need to do this, this and this. So you can have a mini step to actually make sure that you're being realistic, but actually make sure that what you are trying to do is attainable. We all have limited time and resources, so you have to actually map your commitment in time, your commitment financially, to actually make sure you can achieve and attain what you are after to actually push to get towards your overall goal. One of the questions you may say is, well, what resources do I need? If you need a website, this is the sign where you actually may looking to build websites. If you need a contract drafted, this is where you go and see a professional. Realize actually when there's certain things you cannot do, do not dabble. Do not dabble, you will make a mess. The best thing to do is to outsource that work and get somebody who knows what they're doing. They'll save you a whole heap of time, stress and worry. But be smart. Think of things. Give it a go. It's like, for example, me, I'd like doing DIY. But I know that actually I'm not going to touch anything with dealing with electricity or water. Anything else, yeah, I'm game for. But there's certain things actually I'm going to get a specialist to come and do. It's the same thing. Realizing that is also part of the process. R stands for relevant. The goal has to be relevant to you. Don't write this plan for somebody else. Right? This is your plan. This is your secret plan. You don't have to show anyone else, but make it relevant to you. Make your goal high enough for you to succeed. If you set very low goals, that's fine. But after a while, you're going to have to start ratcheting it up. You're going to have to actually get to a point where you're going to stand on your tiptoes to actually achieve that goal. You'll get a greater sense of achievement by actually reaching something which is more difficult than just a very simple goal. But be kind to yourself. We know that actually you may already be still working in another job or doing this part-time to start with, but actually phrase and use the time and resources you have relevant to you to actually map the progress. Again, almost reaching back to the previous step, how will achieving this goal be relevant to you? What's that going to make you feel? This again will help you trigger your motivation. And it's something which actually when you write down the responses to start with, as you go along, you can actually update this, you can tick things off. So it's an interactive, organic plan. It's not something you're going to do and go, tick, put it away. it's actually something you need as your roadmap to actually, and it will develop as you go through various experiences. So being relevant will show you how to achieve your goal with the correct resources, with the correct amount of time. It's also a really good way of thinking, because when we start getting into the other things like business plans, getting the habits early on will help you, and it will crack a lot of hard and difficult tasks later on in your business life as we go through these videos. Finally, you have to make it timely. That's the T. That means that actually you need to have an end date to your goal. It needs not to actually just be running on forever, because otherwise it doesn't create any sense of urgency. If there's no urgency, then that's not going to actually be a motivator to push you to achieve that goal. It may be that actually you have your overall goal. You may have, I want to open my business by X. But actually, we all really know that actually you don't go from sitting here today to tomorrow opening the doors and welcoming people in. There's a lot of work that's got to be done in the meantime. So this is where you will also write down the steps to get to that thing. Again, they have time limits on it. This is almost like your milestones of actually step by step to get to where you need. If it's need to go and get more qualifications, you need to buy equipment or whatever. These are the steps which actually you can tick them off. You can actually make sure that you keep on task and you keep focused on what you're doing in your idea. Live in the idea. Don't view this as an artificial thing. This is something which is you. This is your new Spider-Man suit, which is actually stuck to you. You actually have got, this is you now. Make sure that you actually are living the plan. Okay, well, this leads very nicely onto something which is called dumb goals. You'll think, well, actually, that's weird. Now, there's, again, been a lot of debate about between whether you actually are smart or whether you're a dumb planner. Now, there's a guy called Brandon Burchard who is fantastic. I'm a big fan of his, and he's done this great thing of why setting goals suck. And you'll see on the handout that there's a link to the website and the YouTube. I thoroughly recommend going and seeing this, because he is a really good guy. He tells it to you straight, and it's really funny. And I've also then created a worksheet where you can fill in the dumb goals, pretty much along the lines of the smart goals. And I think actually, I'm not going to spoil what he says. I'm going to get you to watch it and then actually go through it. But to conclude that debate, I actually believe that you need both. I think you need to be a dumb person and a dumb thinker, as well as a smart goal setter. I think in isolation, both of these, they're not realistic. These are just sort of industry norms. When you start putting these together, you start actually firing the passion out between both of these, between the goals of actually thinking, yeah, I can do this. I actually can achieve the unattainable. I can actually go from where I'm standing from now, and I can make all that thing. I can achieve, I can spend the time, I can make the money, I can be the person I want to be by actually starting up and actually planning where you're going with it. So personally, I think, and I live by both the dumb and smart goals. So go through them both. Have fun doing it, because actually this is something which is going to help shape where you're going. So have a look at both of these. Take the best out of it. Take the best out of it and make the best of you come out of it. And this is where we're going to start making business being simple.